All right, we are back. 1 hour down, 2 hours to go. Thank you to Twinny, who joined us from England. Thank you to Salema Masakela, who joined us from Los Angeles. Really enjoyed both of those conversations. And this hour, we will be joined by Hunter Hayes and Kaylie Housewright. My mom is here. Hi, Mom. It was her birthday yesterday. Happy birthday. Love you so much. Pin the link. Chad is good at reminding me this. Thanks, buddy. Hey, I love asking you guys where you are, where in the world, what time of day is it, how are you doing? Today is World Suicide Prevention Day. We're honored to be here with you. I'm going to pin this, and then I will be present once more. Thank you for coming back. Worth living for.com. All right. I think I got it. So this comment that I just typed and I am pinning is an important one because we are here to recognize World Suicide Prevention Day and our campaign, our Worth Living For campaign that has been leading up to this day for the last month. And this is really the day that our year as an organization revolves around. And we are honored that you're here with us. Again, worthlivingfor.com is how you can get involved, how you can donate, how you can learn more. Before we bring Hunter on, I just want to say we're trying to raise $250,000. All of that money will turn into scholarship dollars. We're going to fund 3,500 counseling sessions, and it will also allow 45,000 searches using the Find Help tool on our website, TWLOHA.com. That's a way people can access local mental health resources. You can also connect with national and international resources as well. And with that, I'm going to bring on Hunter Hayes. Hey, man.
How are you?
I'm good. Sorry I'm a little late.
No, no worries, man. I've been kind of just watching, and we're on the road right now, but I stopped just to kind of watch and be here for it. So I sincerely, I'm so grateful for you guys. You guys are doing amazing work and saying really important things, and I'm glad that so many people are tuning in and having a conversation with you.
Oh, man, thank you. Well, you and I talked on the phone earlier, and I got to say that we're really grateful for your support, not just this week, but in years past, and honored that you and I could speak and that we get to do it again. First off, happy birthday. How was your birthday?
It was much better than I deserved. It was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I got to be surrounded by some great friends and experience some new places in Colorado, and it's been awesome. So I'm very very grateful.
I love it. So I'm always curious whether it's someone who joins our staff, whether it's one of our interns. I feel like there's almost always a personal reason that someone chooses to participate and even prioritize this conversation about mental health, about suicide prevention. I wonder if a place to start is just why is this important to you?
Um, I kind of don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. But I'll say the simplest answer that I can give you. I'm very grateful that I get to make music for a living. I make art, and there's no right or wrong way. There's no rule book. And for me personally, I've definitely experienced, but I sell my feelings. It's the weirdest thing in the world, and I love it. But it can definitely take a toll on you if you're not sort of aware of the pitfalls and the challenges. And for me, I deal with a lot of anxiety. I love being on stage, but I don't really love attention. I love connection. Um, so, I have a lot of insecurities about, my voice and stuff like that I've kind of worked through. And just, I think doing what I do, it's magnified my insecurities, and I've had to kind of navigate that at some points by myself and alone, and it's not easy. And I don't know. I always hope that like my music can be there for somebody if maybe they don't have the support system that they deserve. And so I guess I just wanted to extend that even further and just kind of like, just talk about it. And I want people to know, I have my great moments, and I definitely have my sort of, my downs too. And we make music about all of it in hopes that hopefully someone will feel like they're not alone.
Yeah. So today is World Suicide Prevention Day. As you know, I asked Salema, our last guest, just, is this an issue that you've been personally impacted by?
Yeah. Yes. In the most, surprising ways. It's, it's tough to talk about. And to be honest with you, I haven't talked about it a lot. And so I probably won't, go into too much detail just because
Sure.
I don't want to, yeah, I want to, I guess I feel like my purpose is staying on the positive, um, but yeah, I've seen all too many brilliant people. Um, and when I say too many, one is too many.
Yeah.
I've really struggled with trying to understand it. And yeah, I've, I've experienced it from a very close, proximity, and it's just, yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I want to talk about, um, yeah, helping people that are
Yeah.
struggling with that, because I think it's what I think the reason that it's so hard for me to talk about it is, in my experiences, they've all y'all it's been unexpected,
Mm.
um, and you just don't know who's struggling with what.
Yeah. Sure. I wonder kind of how we got started having these conversations was just recognizing that it's been such a hard year for so many people, and that it's such a lonely, isolated year for a lot of us, and trying
Mm.
to do what we could to have conversations and invite people into these conversations. And so I wonder kind of through the lens of mental health, what the year has been like for you.
Man, it's like I always struggle to talk about my struggles because I'm very grateful for the life that I have, and I know that people are having a really hard time right now, right? So there's no comparison. But for me, I've kind of discovered a couple things. Um, my blessing and curse is I can work alone. I do a lot of my music making by myself. I write with other people currently on Zoom. I work with producers when the time is right or when the song needs it. But a lot of the work that I do is alone. So I kind of buried myself in my work when this whole thing happened, hoping that that would kind of be my coping. And the problem was the lonerness that happened
Yeah.
as a result. I spent way too much time by myself and kind of reached my breaking point without realizing that I was getting close to it. And I also, kind of going back to what I said earlier, I don't really crave like attention necessarily, but I do like connection, and that's a live show. The live show for me is not about like look at me. It is the most pure place for my most vulnerable self to be accepted, and to yeah, and it's a safe place for me to be vulnerable, and not just the bad but the good as well, and share my life with the world. And that's been really really difficult, kind of missing that, and also just the people that I work with, man. I'm blessed. I love my crew and my band, and I just, yeah, I hate that we don't really get to be there for each other. It's hard to be there for someone, and it's hard for people to figure out how to be there for other people too right now, because like we are all in need of our own thing, and we're all trying to figure out. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I'm still trying to figure out what that is daily. You know what I mean? It changes constantly. So I think it's just put a magnifying glass on the things that I handle well and the things that I don't handle well.
Yeah. Yeah. My sister said you're a dog guy, so
I am.
I had to grab my pup. I feel like, are you on the road with your dog?
I am, both of them. Yeah,
I heard when
they're
we
running
talked
around.
earlier, I heard one of your pups.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna put her down. I wonder, are there any rhythms or anything that makes up your self care that has been really helpful this year?
Um, I'm still trying to figure that out. I know that the unknown, like for me going on the road, part of that is just the unknown. It's an adventure. You know what I mean? You get on a bus and you know where you're going, but you have no idea what it's going to look like when you get there. You don't know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
So for me, kind of trying to replace that with safe versions of travel, and just sort of like taking time, like being able to like know how to say like, hey, I need to take off. It's scary.
Sure.
It's daunting. I don't know how I'm going to travel in the car with two dogs. I've never done it before. But it's kind of just a matter of saying, I have to do the things that I'm afraid of. You know,
Yeah.
I have to shock my system. Those make memories for me. And also just like learning how to separate myself from work, like allowing myself to, because like I said, I use working as a bit of a coping mechanism, because it is. I mean, it's like I make a living, you know, making stuff out of my feelings, right? So it's easy to blur the lines, you know. It's easy to like, it's even easier for that to become my worth, which is really like what I've struggled with. That's my biggest struggle, I think, over the course of my life. And so I've really practiced separating those things and sort of trying to yeah, just like appreciate the things that I like about my weird personality and the
Yeah.
things that I do outside of music. And for me, honestly, a lot of that's been making music with other people, like not with, but you know, theoretically with other people,
Yeah.
because I get to work on their purpose and I get to kind of walk with them for a minute, and it always informs my own, you know.
Yeah. What are some of those other things outside of music, outside of your dogs, travel, that bring you joy, that make you smile?
It's really simple. I've got like an electronic bike, and for me, just getting away and not having any like phone noise, you know, it's just the sound of the world around me. Getting in nature is a real big thing. I'm not a big outdoorsy guy, but I'm learning that I think I might become one, because
Yeah, right
I
now you look like one.
yeah, I kind of feel like it. But that's honestly been a saving grace, is just the silence of nature and just like taking in deep breaths, you know.
Yeah.
That's been, I think those moments have been surprisingly the most valuable for me. It seems so simple and so basic, but um, I've I've just experienced complete reset when I go out in the morning and, you know, for a ride, and just, you know, I
Yeah.
come back home with a new perspective, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've got a couple questions, but if it's cool with you, is it okay to take a few questions from other folks?
Absolutely, yeah, I'd love that.
So I want to remind you guys, there's a question mark icon at the bottom of the screen. If you have a specific question for Hunter, we would love to get to a couple of those. I wanted to ask about how mental health has shown up in your music, and I feel like you shared earlier, it's really been some significant moments, not just in your career, but really in your life, that's all wrapped up in some of those songs.
Hmm. Man, I think, you know, I kind of opened the door with a song called Invisible. It was the first time that I talked about my experience in sort of, you know, school, not just middle school or high school, just school in general. I had some weird experiences, and they just kind of, yeah, they kind of made me look at myself differently. And I think I realized after moving to Nashville and having an amazing like first couple of years with the debut record, that that stuff is probably going to continue to happen. And through, you know, social media is an absolute blessing. It's an absolute curse in some ways too, you know. We're kind of like wired to represent ourselves a certain way, and at the end of the day, I think for me it's just really hard, because I'm like, man, I don't know if the world really knows me, you know. They know some of me and most of me, and I mean, I have so much anxiety around social media. It takes 3 hours to hit the post button just because I'm just like scared, you know.
Yeah.
um, but it showed up in Invisible because I wanted to talk about it. I wanted people to know, you know. I felt like for some reason, like it was assumed that I had confidence and that I was like cool, and I'm not, and I don't think I am. I don't take myself that kind of seriously. Um, and I wanted people to know that before the train got too far from the station. You know, we were
Yeah.
experiencing success, and I was meeting a lot of people, and I didn't want fans to like. I wanted fans to know me, and the me is I'm a nerd, and I glorify the word nerd because I think it's a great word. I think it's a
Yeah.
really cool. You know, I when people are just really into what they do, man, and they're passionate about it and they commit to it. You know, so it showed up in Invisible, and I think I kind of put it away for a while, and then it just kind of came out in Dear God, a song that I wrote a couple years ago with Andy Grammer, um, and it it was about the fact that like I was making music that I loved, and people were connecting with some of these songs, but at the end of the day, I was kind of stuck in a situation where, and I don't want to go into it, but you know, there were people that were working with me that didn't get it. And
Mm.
so things would get stuck before they'd come out. And what that became was this sort of like cycle of, what am I doing wrong? Am I wrong? Is it me that's wrong? Am I messed up? And why can't I get it right? You know, why can't it was just this, all the insecurities just blew up and exploded in front of me. And so I wrote about it in Dear God, and I've written about it in a couple other songs, and it's definitely made an appearance on Red Sky, the new album that I'm working on now. So,
Yeah.
so that was the big thing for me. Dear God was probably like a really great, it was amazing because like, it wasn't like a single or anything that we wanted to like focus on. And it still is like the most streamed song from the album, you know?
Yeah.
And I think people connect with it the most out of any, I hear the most stories about that song, I guess. And
Yeah.
that makes me feel really good because a lot of people have opened up and had conversations with me that I would have never dreamed to have with people, you know?
Yeah. No, I love that, man. Thank you for sharing. I wonder, what is it? And my hunch is you're not going to claim to have this all figured out, but what has it been like trying to figure out a healthy relationship with social media and also with success, with streaming numbers, with, you know, income and labels? And I wonder, how do you balance that with trying to figure out like, man, who are my friends and who am I as a real dude?
I was told when I moved to Nashville by one of my favorite people in the world, and I worked with them. I don't work with them anymore, but I still regarded them as like another parent to me. And he just told me something really, he always was full of like great one-liners. And one of the things he told me early on is like, this is simple and it's dumb, but trust your instinct, you know? And early on I did, and then I stopped. And those are the only things that I regret, was not trusting my gut and letting people sort of sway my feelings, my opinions, my observations of the world and observations of music. You know, it's not it's not that I don't want to listen to my team. I intentionally assembled a team that I love listening to and that I
Yeah.
respect. And but you know, I think trusting my gut, trusting my own heart. You know, I feel things to extremes, and I've learned to like listen to that. There's a reason for those things. So, and I definitely, you know, I don't have it all figured out. Another thing too, honestly, for me is the comparison thing, man. I'm still like held hostage by it some days. You know what I mean? Like comparisons have been, when it comes to making art, especially like if I'm doing it right, there's nobody doing it like, and I shouldn't be doing it like anybody else. That's terrifying, by the way. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm supposed to do. That's my job. You know, that's my
Yeah.
calling. So, so undoing the comparisons, and every time a comparison comes up for me, I always have to put it in context and say, yeah, but they took a different path. They
Yeah.
did a different thing. And my journey is my journey, man. I have to be faithful to my journey. I also have to love my journey. I
Yeah.
have to love it like it's my kid. And I have
Yeah.
to treat my journey. That's, to me, that's part of my worth living for, is my journey is full of unknowns and brilliant discoveries. And every time there's an unknown and a fear factor, something really brilliant happens.
Mm.
So I'm learning to kind of embrace that. And it's hard, you know, at the beginning when you don't have any perspective and it's never happened. But I'm just learning more and more. The things that I'm most scared of are the most brilliant parts of my life. And I have to just go in and embrace them and be scared.
Dude, I love that. So I looked away and then I looked back and there's a whole bunch of questions. So I'm going to try to find a couple good ones.
Amazing.
Um, I like this one as a place to start. What is your happy place?
Ah,
Mine is your shows.
I love that. I love that. Hi, Danielle. Um, my happy place is my shows too. Uh, just just because that's just where everything I do has a purpose. You know what I mean? Like, I love making music. I love working on it, producing it. I love putting it out. Um, but man, when you're like in front of people and you're singing it with them and they're singing it back, even if they're not singing it back, if you're telling your story to a bunch of people for the first time, like that's amazing. Everybody,
Yeah.
you know, common thread, man. I feel like a lot of people that I know want to be heard, and I'm lucky that like music allows me to do that. So that's my happy place. Other than that, like I'm literally just traveling with a giant box truck, and that's my studio. I'm just
Yeah.
putting it in places because I love being in the studio, because that's the closest I can get to put it, you know, to be on stage. So
Yeah.
I'm 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 doing better at not burying myself in my work, but I'm starting to enjoy the work more now because it's more honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's awesome. So another one, Any tips for a songwriter who has recently gotten terrified of writing and not producing something good enough?
First of all, everything you create is good enough. You just have to know that. You have to, like, I guess I would love to tell you personally. I haven't heard your stuff, right? But I can promise you that if you're putting that together, if you're making this stuff, whether it's lyrics, melodies, or just little production things, first of all, you don't have to finish the song. And I still to this day write 10 songs to get one that I love. And that's just part of my process. And some of them are fragments and they never get finished. And honestly, in this season, I've experienced taking fragments that weren't finished and they become another thing that does get finished and is better. So it's like, like I said, my ratio is 10 to 1, and I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. And I think that's why I love the work so much, because I know every song I get, I'm either getting closer or I've already written it, and these are going to verify that I've already written what I wanted to say. So I encourage you. I missed your name, but I encourage you. Writing music is not easy, so take it easy on yourself, and honestly, just celebrate every line, celebrate every note, celebrate everything that you write, because if it comes from you, it's pure.
Oh man, that's so good. You guys have so many good ones. What do you do when you start feeling overwhelmed?
Panic. That's the part I'm working through, if I'm honest with you,
Oh yeah.
because that's something that, yeah, I haven't figured that out yet. I'm still working on that. Um, I think the success stories that I've had for being overwhelmed and sort of dealing with it, um, it's hard for me to stay calm. I'm naturally high strung, and I'm really trying to get better at using that high strung energy for the right purposes. So what I've learned, and we kind of touched on this in our phone call, most of the time when I get overwhelmed, it's a situation that I've created in my own head. I'm a creative, like I create things. And so my imagination runs wild. Anytime something that I don't know comes up, I immediately assume the worst.
Yeah.
And that's my least favorite characteristic about myself. Well, my second least favorite characteristic about myself. Um, so I think for me, it's like, I've been getting better at just giving myself perspective. Like, dude, like it's probably not 90% of what you're thinking. It's probably 10% of the problem you think it is, you know?
Yeah.
And as long as I sort of like start there, I don't often finish my journey there, but as long as I can start problem solving from that point, like things get better,
Yeah.
and it gets easier.
Thank you guys for those questions. There were so many good ones. I want to ask you, I love closing out with just asking people how you relate to these words. And specifically, if you'd be open to finishing the sentence, I'm living for.
My music, man. I was born, I feel things heavily, and I have an obsession with making music. And if I can combine those two things and make good stuff, I don't have to talk about this all the time or any specific topic. But if I can if I can take my strengths and do something good for the world around me and contribute to it, then that's what I'm living for. I'm living for my dogs. I'm living for my friends. The fact that, I get to connect with strangers because of the fact that I put my feelings out into the world and, sell them. That's
Yeah.
the days that I struggle. I think I have to remind myself that what I'm struggling with is also the thing that makes the good stuff so good. That's what I'm living for.
Yeah. I love it, man. I want to remind people tuning in. So we as an organization today's our biggest day. It's World Suicide Prevention Day. We're trying to raise $250,000. That translates to 3,500 individual counseling sessions and 45,000 searches using the Find Help tool on our website, TWLOHA.com. And within that, we have individuals who are fundraising, and Hunter is one of those. And I wonder if you feel like doing a plug or inviting people to circle back to that fundraising page.
Absolutely, man. This is a crazy time, and I know it's crazy to do fundraising, but obviously you guys are here. We all connect through this, and any little bit is good, man. Anything is progress. So anything you're willing to help, anything you can, anything your heart tells you is the right thing to do is going to help somebody that you don't know that needs it really, that needs it more than the world around them. Maybe they even don't know it, right? Um,
Yes.
you're doing magical, mystical work with any gift you do. So guys, yeah, check out. I've got some stuff on my Instagram, my page, and obviously we're big fans of what you guys are doing. So I encourage all my fans to share as well. That's the biggest thing. Share with all of your friends what these guys are doing, and yeah, that's we appreciate that.
There's also a fun competitive element where you are on the leaderboard. You're one of our biggest individual fundraisers.
I
Ashlyn
didn't know
Harris, who
that.
is one of the goalkeepers on the U.S. women's national soccer team, is our leader, but you're up there. So if Hunter's
Nice.
fans wanna really elevate you, well, man, thank you so much. Thank you for just all the support, the fundraiser, showing up today. Thanks for years of participating, and even personally, it's been great to get to see you and talk to you today. So thanks for taking time in the middle of your drive today.
Man, thank you. Honestly, it was. I've looked forward to this ever since we confirmed this, and I would just like to finish by saying, if whatever if being on the leaderboard is amazing, and that honestly just goes to say that the people that I'm lucky to get to play music for are great people. So I appreciate you guys. I just wanted to say thank you.
That's awesome. Well, Hunter, I'll let you go. Man, hope you have a great time on the road. It looks like it's beautiful where you are. And thank you again.
Thank you. God bless you, man. God bless everybody.
You too. Take care. Hunter Hayes, thank you so much. So Hunter's going to jump back in the car with his dogs, and we've got 3 guests left, so we're halfway. We're going to bring on Kaylie Housewright, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's see. Kaylie will be joining from the Anthem of Hope account, I believe, and I don't see her yet. So I'll take this time or this moment to just remind you what we're doing. It's World Suicide Prevention Day, September 10th. It's the biggest day of the year for us as an organization. We are on our way to raising $250,000. That's our goal. That money will turn into 3,500 individual counseling sessions and 45,000 searches using the Find Help tool on our website, TWLOHA.com. You can learn more about this campaign. You can buy the t-shirt that I have on. You can get involved. It's not too late to get involved. worthlivingfor.com. And I'm going to see, let's see if Kaylie might be on. Jess or Chad, I don't know if you guys are able to reach out to her. So Kaylie Housewright will be joining us from the Anthem of Hope account. Someone asked if we can save these Instagram lives, and we are. So you can find them after the fact on IGTV. Someone asked, where can you buy the shirt? And you can find it through our website. We made a site specifically for the campaign, and it's worthlivingfor.com. All right, Anthem of Hope. Gonna bring on Kaylie. Oh, thank you guys for being here. Hi. You're here.
I'm here. I figured it technologically not as savvy as I'd like to be, but
No, you're fine. It's funny because it just forces me to like pass the time and get creative.
I did it on purpose. I just wanted to challenge you to get.
Thank you so much. You and I spoke for the first time yesterday, and I am honored to get to talk to you today. I know that for you, today is not only World Suicide Prevention Day, but that you lost your brother, Jared Wilson, a year ago today. And so I want to start by just acknowledging that and saying thank you for being willing to show up here on such a beyond difficult anniversary. And just say that on behalf of our team, we're thinking about you and Julie and the boys and your family, and just really honored that you would want to do this.
No, I appreciate it. We're all actually here coming together, honoring the day. And Dude, Jared would be so stoked about this. I told you, we repped you decades ago, and we had our Try Love in Our Arms shirts, and he would just be so stoked that, again, the legacy and the anthem is continuing to sing on, and this is part of it, bringing
Yeah.
awareness, using these situations and days to honor what's actually happening in the world.
Yeah. So we talked yesterday, and you've been really graceful in knowing we'll probably bounce around a little bit. And
Yeah.
It's true that your brother died by suicide, but your brother lived before that. And so I wonder if you could kind of introduce your brother to us and maybe your relationship as well.
Oh gosh. So the difficulty with that is the fact that how do you adequately express the characteristics of someone like Jared? He was everybody's best friend. He so desperately, in the most beautiful way, wanted to acknowledge that every single person has a story.
Mm.
The vast majority of all of us struggle with mental health, and inevitably, every single person on this world is going to be faced with grief, with loss. It's inevitable. And he understood that. So he was this incredible human being that didn't know a stranger, and who truly wanted to know how every single person was. It wasn't just the, minuscule, how are you? Not really expecting, or like, hey, just, I'm praying for you, but not actually praying behind closed, something you say. But rather it was how he lived. He lived daily to be every person's person, and for them to feel like they had a person, because within mental health struggles, so many times there's this aspect of isolation and feeling so alone. And so he made it his life's mission to uniquely find intricate ways that people did not feel alone. And he's someone that I just looked up to immensely. I always wanted my big brother to be proud of me. We have, 6 of us total as siblings.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know that. That's amazing. Wow.
Bro, I got 5 brothers.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So he was my big brother, and he didn't stray from the difficulties of life, but he was someone, it was just so wild to be able to look up to him and to watch him take all of the beauty and the tragedies of life. And we've gone through trauma in the past and losses, and, not encourage the taboos and the stigmas, but rather lean into them and show, especially on the pulpit and in the church, which, has unfortunately stigmatized these situations, really break the barriers so that prayerfully people can break the chains of mental illness. Yeah. And his anthem's still going on. His body may not be here, but oh my gosh, how he's living right now.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I wonder, and this is a broad one, but just what the last year has been like for you and your family.
Whew. So I'm a mental health therapist, and I kind of shared that with you yesterday. It's so interesting to kind of know things and know a textbook of how to handle something. And I feel like that so coincides with mental illness and the struggle in general. Is we can know some of the logic, but the emotion just brings it all to heart. And so for the past year, we just said it literally 5 minutes before you and I got on. Gosh, can you believe that we survived this last year? The first day it was, okay, we're going to try to close our eyes. We made it a day. We made it a week. We made it a year. And I think for all of us, we've really had our own individualized journeys with this and with grief. And I, if anything, want to encourage those who've gone through loss is grief is it's not linear. It's such an individual experience. And to be honest, even though I have all the tools and techniques, I didn't truly start grieving until probably a few weeks ago. I was in survival. I was in coping. And that's okay.
Yeah. No, sorry. Say the last part.
Been surviving. That's where we've been the past years, is surviving and just surrounded by wonderful, wonderful people.
Yeah. What has it been like to do the work that you do while grieving yourself? And we could throw in a pandemic on top of that. And I wonder, how have you been making sense of that combination?
I think part of it is it doesn't make sense. And that can be some of the hardship too. I think as human beings, we try so desperately and deeply to try to make sense of things that just don't make sense. And so let's sprinkle on a pandemic and COVID, and now, you know, the world's on fire. Yeah. And it doesn't make sense. And that's the point, is that we were never supposed to be met with trauma. That wasn't the plan. The plan wasn't to be met with loss and grief and trauma. So we're not supposed to understand. But the point is that that's okay. It's okay to not be okay. My brother's coined phrase of, it's okay to not be okay. And we want individuals to lean into that. We just don't want you to live in that. We want you to live, just not in that well of desperation. And so doing this work that I do, I've really had to comprehend that it's okay to give myself the time that I need. It's okay to self-care. Self-care is not selfish.
Yeah, sure.
If I don't put my mask on first, I can't care for anyone else. And that's really hard to learn when we live in our family, you've met Julie, caregiver above all caregivers. And so what's our coping? To care for others. But the point of, what's worth living for and how to do this work is that, well, you matter.
Yeah.
My grief matters. And saying that right now is hard for me to say. But that was Jared's whole, underlining of this anthem, is that, gosh, you and your experience matters. You deserve a therapist. You deserve a coach. You deserve a friend. You deserve to be cared for. In this pandemic, people who've never maybe understood that they were experiencing or have never experienced depression, anxiety, are now experiencing it. And so you deserve to be cared for. And so navigating that for myself has been really difficult of, what does that look like to balance life and family and grief and the world, and realize that it's okay to not be okay, but also it's okay to get the care you need to be okay.
Yeah. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about Anthem of Hope. And I actually don't know the origin story. And so I'd love to just kind of learn about the beginning and what it looks like now and your place in that.
So Jared has always been extremely passionate and open about the struggles with mental health, and specifically the stigmas that have occurred, unfortunately, within the church. And I want to say what I know he would say is that if any of you watching have been hurt by the stigmas that have occurred within the church, I'm so sorry. Because that was never what was supposed to be intended. And, brothers and sisters coming together. And I think that he really just wanted to make it very clear that, mental health isn't just going to choose one person. There's not one person that's a poster child for mental health struggles. Because, he had said it himself of, there can be chemical imbalances. You could be grieving the fact that you did not have the parent that you should have had. It's not your fault. That you experience these little T's, big T's, these traumas in your life, whether daily or a big experience, and now are having to try to cope and sitting within trying to survive, self-harm, depression, anxiety. It's your mind and body trying to survive. You are a survivor. You're trying to survive. And Jared knew that, and how vital it was for people also to know, dude, bro, you're not alone in this. And we need to make it our anthem that we're inevitably going to struggle, that some of us experience things, one person's paper cuts, another person's war wound. And so what could he do? And this guy literally could pull the most brilliant things out of his butt. Like, you guys, he could give him 2 seconds and he had everything ready for anyone who needed anything. And it was brilliant, a masterpiece. And so this was one of his masterpieces, and it was really his heart posture. This was his heart baby of creating an anthem of hope, where people could realize, in church or not in church, just in the world globally, you're not alone. And I don't want you to sit in silence in your room contemplating if you're going to self-harm. I don't want you to not walk through church doors or go into your friend's house and say you need help because you feel like you need to just allow the depression to manifest in silence. No, we're not going to let it manifest and win in silence. We're going to have victory in crying it out and coming alongside each other. And so he brought this idea. His beautiful wife, of course, was like, 100%, we got this. They collaborated, and it was born. And I think it's doing exactly what he had planned for it to do.
I wonder, I imagine you've heard from a lot of people that know what it's like to lose a family member to suicide, and I wonder what that's been like over the last year.
You know, as cliche as it sounds, it's a club that you never asked to be in. But I'm so grateful for even the normalization of that. When we bring life into the world, you know, when I had my kids, everyone expected that I would have at least 2 months off, at least. Oh, but you know, take another and take your time. And when someone passes away, especially with something that is stigmatized, one, the whole world just moves forward regardless, and then it feels like people expect you to move forward too.
Yeah.
There's not a time frame or a timeline to grief. And so for the people who have reached out, while, you know, in the beginning, of course, it was hard, it was also such a freaking honor to hear these stories and these people continue to break through the stigmas and share their experiences, because you're not alone in this. And you realize when you go through an experience, especially a trauma, I feel, you realize just how many people are going through it. And it's just like, oh my gosh. And you never knew that they were experiencing that. And it goes to show you, you never know what battle someone's fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the people within the music industry, within media, in movies, celebrities who have passed away from losing the battle with mental illness. They're not the people you would ever expect.
Sure. No, that's so true. Did you think about maybe after losing your brother, did any part of you want to just step away from this work and do something else? Or did this renew you wanting to be a part of this fight?
Both. I think that there was a part of me that just felt my whole world is surrounded by trauma. And that felt really heavy. And I inevitably, and I honor the feeling of feeling like, I can't do anything. What can I do? And I wonder if any of you felt that way as well, of just like, this feels so big and I feel so small in this. And I luckily, because of the amazing community that we have, that quickly turned around to, and look at just what one person, look at what just Jared Wilson did in his time here. And now even after, look at what he did.
Yeah.
And while, again, we may be a rock, it's the ripple effect. And so it's made me very passionate about doing this work, but also passionate about caring for myself. How dare I not sit on the other seat of a therapist if I'm a therapist?
Yeah.
How dare I put myself in that place? And so the vitality of, and now we get to care for ourselves too. And that in itself, me healing does do this work and care for others, and realizing that you guys healing and taking that step to get the team that you deserve, get the therapist, get the, whatever it is, that's you part of this fight. And so I think I just had to realize that even more so of practicing what I preach.
Yeah. I wonder, what has self-care looked like for you this year?
At first it sucked. I was terrible at it. I'm great at talking about it, teaching about it. I was terrible at it. Like, let me SVU and tried to just shut everything down and care for everyone else. So I'm just being really brutally honest with you guys. I was horrible at it. And so moving forward, it was okay for me to cry. That was really hard for me. It was okay for me to need a mental health day. It was okay for me to ask for help. It was okay for me to be okay. I was allowed to have days that I laughed and not feel guilty. And again, personally, I got myself a therapist.
Yeah.
I went back into therapy. And so self-care has been realizing that everyone deserves a team, and that it's okay to ask for that team. That sometimes being strong truly is being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Within that vulnerability that we can really find healing and ability to move forward.
I love to push for specifics, and I love just kind of finding out, like, even things that might surprise people, like, where you sit and have your coffee, or something you love to read. Like, what are some of those things that are so unique to you that you've just figured out, this is important for me?
Yeah. So a big thing that I always tell myself is one, I am statements and mental health minutes. So I literally stand in the mirror, preferably do it before you get in the shower because you're at your most vulnerable. And you say, I am statements that go against that inner critic, that go against the wounded inner child. And so I tell myself that I am worthy. I'm loved. I am cared for. And I just say it over and over in the mirror. If I feel, that anxiety is popping up and heart palpitations or headaches, and I start to be aware of that in the car, when I get to a safe place, I look in my car mirror and I start saying my I am statements. And then mental health minutes for me are huge. As a mom and work, I don't always think that I can take a full day. And if you can, you absolutely should. And so I will go through Starbucks. I will get myself my Starbucks and have a mental health minute. Give myself 10 minutes
Yeah.
just to breathe. And if anyone doesn't know how to do self-care, something that was helpful for me, I took you can take a love language test to kind of know what your love language is. So I went online, took the love language test, and then utilized what my love language was to love myself. So with my love language, part of it is, physical touch. I really challenged myself, even though it was hard, to ask for hugs for my safe people. Like
Yeah.
that was really big to me, was to be able to ask for a hug.
Oh, that's so good. I wonder, and then it's got to be hard when hugs are more off limits, or there's less hugs this year.
Yes, so it has to be truly your safe people.
Yes.
Truly your safe people. Or
With,
anyone's done EMDR, there's some self hugs that you can do
yeah.
that I realize, just to kind of bring it back to, like, it's okay to love myself.
Yeah.
And that's hard. It's okay to give myself a hug.
I wonder, to whatever extent you're comfortable, just kind of your hope for the future of Anthem of Hope, and even for you professionally and otherwise.
I really do think this is just the beginning. And I feel like it was already birthed so long ago from Jer, but I feel like it really stepped into what he meant for it to right now last year. Mm. And so it's not that I pray this happens. I really feel confident that I know that part of, again, the Anthem of Hope moving forward is we're going to break down stigmas. Christian, my brother Christian Wilson and Julie Wilson, his wife, are really the ones who've been spearheading this. They're incredible. And we are going to work really hard on breaking stigmas so that we can break the barriers and break the chains of anyone who feels like they're alone in this fight, and who feels like it's their fault, or who can't forgive themselves for what they did when they were just surviving, or give themselves the permission to care for themselves because they have survived. And so I feel like Anthem moving forward is not only going to be the aspect of awareness, but we and they specifically are working on some really incredible things that Jared already had in the works, to find more tangible ways to literally come alongside people and help bring them, sit in that well with them, meet them where they're at, to really take away that shame, and then help come out of the well with them and come alongside them in tangible ways. And so I can't fully share all of that yet, but guys, you are not alone by any means. And so I'm excited to come alongside with tools, statistics, therapeutic aspects of it, whatever. I told them, whatever you need, I'm here. Continue talking. And for me, I feel like I take Jared with me every day when I go to work and see my clients.
Oh, man. A cool moment just happened. So I want to give a shout out to Rain Phoenix. Rain, I believe, is tuning in and just left a comment. And Rain has done an amazing job of honoring her brother, River Phoenix, over the years. And like you, comes from a big family. Her brother, in addition to being my favorite actor, Joaquin is a friend and has supported the organization. So a really cool moment that just kind of happened while you were talking. And it's just wild, right? The way that dots connect, and you never know who's listening or paying attention.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Jared, we got this, dude.
um,
Amazing.
yeah, no, I so appreciate that. Sorry, that threw me off, but in a good way. It was really cool to see a comment from her. Do you mind if I look at to see if there's some questions for you?
Please, yeah, of course.
So I want to remind you guys, if you have a question for Kaylie or you want to ask a question of Kaylie, we would love to get to one or two of those. We've got a few more minutes left with her. We just have to, there's a lot of Hunter Hayes questions.
Listen, I know I'm not as cool as Hunter Hayes.
Hunter is a tough act to follow.
Oh,
Let's see.
God.
Wait, you know what? This might be a Hunter Hayes question that I'm going to pass along to you.
Ooh,
Um,
very honored.
and I realize your public life is different than his, but you know, this could be work life, but maybe another way to ask it is just, what do boundaries look like for you now?
That is a great question. So one thing that I love to say that I really need to take to heart now is the only people that are going to get angry at you setting healthy boundaries are the ones who are benefiting from you having none. And so I've had to work really hard of comprehending that if I don't set healthy boundaries, that I don't have to answer a certain phone call. I don't have to come running. I don't have to fix everything. And that guess what? It's going to be okay. And that if I don't take care of myself, how dare I think that I'm going to be pouring anything positive from my bucket, because my bucket's going to be completely empty. And so boundaries are taking care of people. Boundaries not only teach you how to care for yourself and that you matter, setting boundaries teaches other people how to have boundaries for themselves and teaches other people how to respect and care for you best. And so it's very difficult to truly step into that. You know, I feel like I spent a lot of money on my master's, which was basically like my own therapy. I just spent really expensive therapy to really understand that boundaries matter because you matter. And if you're not taken care of, you can't take care of anyone else. And so they've drastically changed, actually. I've said no.
Yeah.
I've really stuck to, you know, my schedule as a therapist. And while that's been difficult, oh my gosh, it has been so freeing. And so if you guys need permission, Kaylie gave you permission. Here is your permission. I pray that you give yourself permission in the end, but y'all have permission. Throw me under the bus and set those healthy boundaries.
Oh,
And
that's
if
so good.
boundaries, because I don't know your story, start therapy, and they will absolutely help guide you.
I love it. So I wonder, and you might have seen this coming, but just how you relate to these words, and maybe specifically if you could kind of share some of your list with us. What's worth living for?
So I tried to give myself space to think about that last night, and I kind of had my boundary. I kind of had to step away from it because I felt like I was starting to overthink and drown in what if I don't say what's right? What if I say something that's not going to help anybody? And so right now, reading your shirt, I'm worth living for. And I like, and that makes me emotional to even say of that you're allowed to just be enough.
Yeah.
You're like, you alone are worth it. That you're worth living for. My kids are worth living for. My brother and his legacy are worth living for. And while that's so true, I think that when we can get to the core of I alone am worth living for, that if you can say that to yourself, if you can say that in the mirror, that I'm worth living for, if we can have that manifest as our truth, gosh, how we can live so well for other people too. That's what I got.
No, that's awesome. I love it. You know what's funny? That answer sort of showed up in our video, and it's funny how I hadn't really thought of that answer. Like, because I kind of do what you did last night of like, I gotta have this cool list, right? Like, you gotta have like quirky stuff and epic stuff, and
Right?
for someone to just say,
I'm enough.
yeah, is so powerful. So I love that answer.
Ooh.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and thank you for doing this. And I do want to say, and you can probably relate, it's a funny thing when someone you barely know suggests someone else for an opportunity, right? So, because Julie had mentioned, hey, I'd love to go live at some point. And then a little bit of time went by and I circled back, and then she kind of said, hey, I can't do this one, but I know someone. And so it's funny where it's like, oh man, I don't know. Like, but she said, you're great. You're Jared's sister. You work in mental health and you are so well spoken. And she was absolutely right. So thank you so much. It's really been cool to meet you and get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, I'm no Julie, I'm no Hunter Hayes, but I hope I did my brother proud. And I really thank you for the honor and opportunity of being able to be here, especially today.
No, we're so honored to have you, and I hope we can stay in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna go cry, eat some cake for him, give myself permission to feel, and it's gonna be
absolutely. No, I know it's a significant day. I'm glad you guys are together. Again, thank you for taking some time, and we'll be, as an organization, we'll be cheering you guys on. And
same with you, champion.
Yeah. So we'll see you down the road. Thank you so much, Kaylie.
Yeah.
Bye. Oh, that was special. Kaylie Housewright, thank you so much for joining us. Please follow Kaylie. Follow Anthem of Hope. That is the organization that Jared Wilson started. And we are just honored that on such a difficult anniversary that she would take some time to be with us. And it really does mean a lot. And again, just want to send our love to Julie and their family, their extended family. And Julie popped in the comments. Oh, let's see. Okay. We're gonna end this one. We're gonna come back for our final hour with Tanya Ingram and John Foreman. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Truly grateful to get to be here with you on World Suicide Prevention Day. To learn more about the campaign, worthlivingfor.com. Thank you guys.